Hi, my name is Janet Skinner. Sometimes in life we need a purpose to continue. And back in the early 1990s, I was looking for a reason to live, if you like. Just happened by accident one day that I saw that Redbank Station, which is in Queensland, was going to be demolished and replaced. So I decided to paint it. And during the 1990s, I painted 104 railway scenes, and that kept me going. As I sat on the platform and railway sidings, old people would come over and speak to me and tell me about life in the good old days. These were elderly people. It transpired that many of them were born in the early 1900s. I wrote down their names and phone numbers, and I went back and interviewed them. There's a series of some 35 railway tapes that I'm making of the interviews that I recorded in New South Wales and Queensland. I'm not a journalist. I've got no background training in interviewing. And I really hope you enjoy these films. I hope they bring laughter to many and insight into what life used to be like. And please bear with me. I had fun doing them, and I hope you have fun listening to them. Thank you so much. Bill, can I ask you what year you were born?
Yes, no secret, 1917.
1917. Okay.
And 80 in April the 9th.
Yep.
Next month.
So you've seen a lot of changes then in the area.
80 years of it. Well, not here.
Yeah.
Since 1933.
And Mavis
Kathleen.
Mavis Kathleen.
Kathleen.
Do you want to tell me when you were born? What year?
Yes, 1919.
Yeah, we're talking about the
Talking
station.
about Redbank.
Redbank.
Yeah. Okay, put that there.
I think Mavis, Mavis might be able to recall some of the changes.
Mavis, you were born at Redbank, were you?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you born?
Redbank.
I mean, in a little...
Down in the paper shop, but that wasn't a paper shop those days. That was a private home, and it was bought by the paper people. So
Right.
opposite the commercial hotel.
Yes. Okay. Gee.
Brisbane Road.
I suppose they know that you were born in there. You go in there. And
Yes.
And what's your earliest memory of Redbank?
Oh, I can go back to when I was about 7.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell me, whatever you like.
Well, I noticed the station.
Not particularly the station to start off with, although you can do.
Yes.
But we're happy to talk about the town in general if you like.
Yeah, well, the town was mostly made up of meatworks. There was a big meatworks over there those days, and that was the activity of the place.
Yeah.
And
whereabouts were the meatworks?
Over where the Woolen mills is now.
Where the which is?
The Woolen
Mills used to be Redbank Woolen Mills. Morris's Woolen Mills.
Where the Redbank Woolen Mills market is now.
Right.
And there was boarding houses, where the butchers used to come and board in and go home weekends. And then we can remember the cattle coming through the town.
Really?
Yes, the cattle used to come from Ipswich, the stockman with his dog, and he'd drive them right through the main street.
On horseback, was this?
On horseback, until they got to where the station is.
Right.
Now, the gates was open there, and the cattle used to go through the gates over to the waiting yards to be slaughtered. So that's over where the old museum is now. The Railway Museum is. Or it's gone now, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it should be Ipswich.
And then to go to the station those days, you'd come up the stairs and you'd go over a big bridge to the next platform to go to Brisbane. See? Well then, Those days the old people didn't have to go over that big bridge that they got now and get their tickets because there was a ticket office. One to go to Ipswich, one to go to Brisbane. So that's all.
One on each side. So was Redbank Station sort of surrounded by paddocks, was it?
No, love. The paddocks was over on behind the station. That was the that was for the cattle to be, waited to be slaughtered. It was the resting yards. Stockyards. But then they had the other side was the rifle range. They had the light horse there. They used to have soldiers there, for the war. And there was.
Tell you what we remember about the war. How did that affect the Redbank area?
Oh well, this last war it affected it because all the troops were here. They were moved from down on the river, behind the station. They were moved from that part there. They used to march up there. They took the fence down on the station, and the troop trains used to take them out from Redbank.
And they were all sleeping in tents?
Yes, yes, they had huts and everything down there.
That was called Redbank Camp, of course. Barracks and so on, so the Americans were barracked there too. That was a transit point to the Pacific War and so on, so
Yes,
that was this last one.
Yes.
And as children going to school, we'd stand at the fence at the school up there and we'd see all this cattle being driven, parts, and we wasn't allowed out of that school ground until all the cattle had moved on.
It would be dangerous.
Oh, yes.
I wonder how many head of cattle would you estimate? 100?
You missed out on my father.
Right.
He was the one that could have put your
Well,
wives
there's a
in
couple of
there.
hundred in the herd.
Oh, there was lots of
It must have smelled, mustn't it?
Oh,
Can you imagine the dust? There wouldn't have been any...
the dust was terrible, yes.
No bitumen road.
Oh,
Is it red dust or yellow dust around here, or brown?
No, it's like an ordinary dust, isn't it? It's not yellow.
Oh, just average, greyish.
Grey dust,
A little bit of a wrong description of how Redbank got its name. They claimed in the history books that it was the boats travelling up the river that noticed the red banks along the river.
Yes.
But there are no red banks here at all.
No, I didn't think there were.
Because when we came to Redbank in 1933, my father and I, we scouted the whole of the area for different types of clay. And we particularly wanted a red clay for the red terracotta pots.
Of course.
And there's nothing in that area at all. The only red clay is in the Redbank Plains area. But right on this side here is a deposit of red clay. And that's where the present Campbell's clay pit is.
But they say in the history books it's actually the red banks of the river, but it isn't there.
Well, that's not quite so, but I can possibly tell you how it could have happened.
How do you think?
Quite simply. Over this deposit of red clay, which the Campbell's brickyards mined, for their red bricks was the coach route. And they used to call in at Wacol, at the old Simpson's homestead still down there. And then they would travel on the old Brisbane Road to another stage depot on top of the hill where Taylor's piggery is, just on just there, whenever you go over the bridge towards Goodna, about halfway to Goodna on the left-hand side is Taylor's piggery, and there's a stagecoach there, which was also called Simpson's Simpson's Inn. Then from there, the coach then travelled to Ipswich. There was nothing built in Redbank at the time, but the coach route was directly over this clay hole area, went through the back of Redbank School, over the hill, over the 6 Mile Creek, which they called Stony Crossing. All the paving stones in that crossing are still there. And then went up Old Ipswich Road, which goes to the back of Riverview, and to Ipswich. Now those days, the formation of the ground here was about 18 inches of loam type of material, which when it's dry is as hard as cement. and when it gets wet, it just mulches up. Now you imagine the coach travelling along here, going over this area here, the iron wheels gradually cut it down and through this sandy loam until this red bank would be exposed. You know, Campbell, travelling in the coach, noticed the red bank, and that's probably what prompted him to do this clay pit here. And of that Benister gooseberries, that is how Redbank got its name. Because the history...
I just checked the... Sorry, Mavis, what was you going to say?
My dad always said it's got Redbank because by the coke ovens on the river over there, belonging to the meatworks, there was red soil there, and that's where the red banks were.
Well, that's a bone of contention. So you went to Redbank State School, did you? Has that changed much from when you went?
Yes, it wasn't as big as it was now. No, they built onto it. But,
how many would you reckon was in your class? Do you remember? Was all the children your age? Were they?
Yes, round about. Yeah. Oh, there'd be no more than 30 or 40 in my class. There wasn't that many.
Right.
Yeah. I picked that a lot.
Yeah. Was the area, when you were younger, was there still quite a lot of population in the area?
Oh, yes. Of course, some of the homes have moved from Redbank. When they closed the meatworks down over here, then I went to Cannon Hill, and all the people that had homes here, they had them shifted.
Yes.
So there was quite a few moved out of the town. But, oh yes, they used to have great times in Redbank. They had the dances and their little movies. His man used to come around, Mr. Paget, with his movie cameras, and that was the picture show in the Redbank State School, School of Arts.
Right. Well, yeah, that would be interesting. Going back to Redbank Station and just talking about the meatworks again, so the cows were brought in and then they were slaughtered.
Yes.
Then it was the meat shipped out by rail, was it? Or you can't remember?
Well, at my time they had the trucks come in and took it away, and then by rail or motor trucks. But in the early days, I think a boat used to come up, didn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, a boat used to come up. They had a river boat used to come up and bring things to Ipswich and take it to Brisbane.
Right.
Yes. But I don't remember that. That's before my time.
Yes.
But some of the aspects of the cattle just on the western side, this side of the railway station, that's where the gates were that the cattle used to go through.
That's right. Where the Woolen mills, you know, the big paddock now you go through the gates, that was all meatworks paddocks for the spelling of the cattle before they were slaughtered, see.
How do you spell in Woolen mills? How do you spell in that? I don't know the name.
Morris's Woolen mills, they are.
Woolen, just
Woolen, W-W-1.
Yeah, as in Woolen, as in cloth.
Yeah,
Woolen.
They made all blankets.
Yes.
Blankets and the for the clothing of the soldiers, didn't they?
Did they?
Yes.
Suiting materials.
Yes, yes, they did all that over there.
One of the biggest mills in Queensland and equal to any in Australia for that matter.
And would you go to Redbank Station and catch the train sometimes?
Yes. There was only trains or a rail motor.
Rail motors, yes.
Rail motors, but mainly the train. Steam trains.
Yes.
When we got older and had to go to work from here, we used to always carry a piece of brown paper and put it on the seat first because the coal dust from the engine soot and everything. Yes.
And where did you used to travel to mostly on the train?
To Brisbane.
Right.
To Brisbane. And then I went further on to the Cannon Hill. Well, that's going on the Women line, you know, as I got older.
So what did you do in Brisbane? What did you work as?
Well, first of all, with day dawns, when I was a young girl, day dawns, and then I moved to the abattoirs, worked for Swifts, the American firm.
Right.
You know, they had all the canned things for the army and all the rest of it, making up all these special patty-de-fours and all the things that you see.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And what about you, Bill? Have you any memories of Redbank Station? Did you get to use the train, or you didn't really go around much?
Yes, we didn't use the trains much.
Has this pottery been in your family, you know, all the generations that they started?
Yes, I'm actually a third generation of potters.
I'm just getting a bit
And basically, my father migrated to Australia in 1911, set up a ceramic laboratory in Melbourne, pioneered most of the, even some of the existing pottery still. They're making up their bodies and glazes and things of that nature. And then he built a pottery at Coburg in Melbourne. That's where I was born. And then in 1927, he migrated to Queensland, and he built a pottery out at Nogra for ceramic potteries. They commenced operations there about 1928.
1928 they commenced at Nogra.
And then closed down in about 1931.
Right. Yes.
That was just on the eve of the Depression.
Right.
And it was the first time in Australia that general household pottery, cups and saucers and plates and things like that, all decorated and transferred. We imported special machinery from overseas for this purpose. That was the eve of the Depression. Japan just flooded the market with that same product. They had their storehouse full and couldn't compete, closed down. There was no tariff protection in the States. So when the factory finally closed down, it was taken over by Fowler's sanitary people. They then moved down south, and I think it's now taken over by, the building was taken over by Gordon and Gotch, who publishes Wacol, and I think it's now the police academic building.
Right. Oh, I know, Nogra.
Nogra, just now there between Orley and Nogra Station.
So did your family move the ceramic business then to Redbank
from
then?
There they were moved to Redbank. The reason coming to Redbank was because of the clay hole. And
Bill, can I just interrupt you and ask you, going even back to Melbourne and even sort of today, what sort of things do you make out of pottery? I mean, other than the normal pots and things, what else do you make?
Here?
Well, in the past too. Talking, in the past, what sort of stuff are you making? Originally, I mean.
When the general domestic market was not viable, should import, we then diverted to more industrial type porcelain. For instance, electrical insulators. The reason that when the money got tight, people still want electricity, so they still want insulators.
Yes.
So even to this day, I produce here specialised industrial ceramics, especially insulated for sequeb. And we hope in the near future that we'll be making the ceramic motor car engine parts. You will use straight water as a fuel. And
so, Bill, would there be many other people in Australia doing what you're doing?
Possibly so. There are probably people researching it. But I think that I would be one of the few, if not the only ceramic industrial porcelain producers.
So yeah, and you also do pots and things like that as well? Or?
We have machines down there, automatic machines that you can throw on a clay and press a button and it's a pot.
Right.
We've diverted from that in the past and we've concentrated on the more technical side of the thing. Some of the specialised ceramic components are very small, but high priced. They make products about the size of a little finger, and they're worth about $25.
So you have to make the mould for that first, do you, or do they give you the mould, or what?
No, we do all the mould making. Most made with steel mould, press for steel moulds and then turned on the lathe and all that kind of thing, very precise in measurement. But because of that, these small components, we have a lot of spare room in our kiln. So we're flying the kiln half full. So we've decided, since we've been heritage listed and we're on the tourist triangle, and the postal department and the City Council have asked us, would we be prepared to make some, souvenir wear made by Australian materials with Australian workmen. So when the chaps look at it over there, it's not made where they come from and so on, etc.
So
we're going to divert back into some of that type of products.
Where do you get your clay from now then, Bill?
Mainly the red clay that's used for the terracotta pots, get that lake ready. But the ceramic, the porcelain material, we get the shortest distance 500 miles from here. They're all in the granite belt areas, such as Kingaroy and even further up north. Specialised materials that we have to bring in.
The lovely big old chimney that you've got, would you call it a shed, would you, that it's housed in? Would that be the right word, or what do you call that?
Well, we just generally refer to it as a pottery building.
A pottery building. It's a large corrugated building with big structural beams inside, and then you've got this enormous like chimney coming up the middle, made of bricks, is it?
Yeah.
Who constructed that? Do you know?
Well, I'll let you into a secret. I worked on that when I was 18 years old.
Did you help build that?
That's right.
So your father built that chimney?
Well, I didn't only help build it, but I designed and built.
Did you?
With the help of my younger brother at the time.
Right.
Built that thing without scaffolding. I've still got the old photographs of it.
So the council have made it heritage listed now, the chimney and that, have they?
Yeah,
You must be very
it's
proud.
heritage listed.
You must be very proud. It's an ornate design. How on earth did you design that shape? Is that pretty, I mean, are other chimneys like that, or is that a one-off?
Oh, no, there are other chimneys constructed like that. Generally, put up a central pole,
Yes.
and then you have a tremor on that, which is a bar that rotates the circumference. And then as you go up, you shorten the bar, and it brings your brickwork in until you come up and
It's a lovely shape though, isn't it?
on the
So,
chimney.
how did the chimney fit into all this? I mean, is the kiln underneath the chimney?
It is actually two kilns.
You
That's
don't
why
still
it's
use it
unique.
today, though?
It's one kiln built on top of the other.
Right. Do you still use that chimney today, or not?
No, the liquid kilns.
Yeah. So the kiln. Tell me how that would work then. What was it for?
There's the first chamber, which is the bottom chamber, and then there's another chamber built on top of it. And it is actually, some kilns are updraft, some kilns are downdraft, depends on how the draft of the flue gases go. So that is actually an updraft and downdraft kiln. In the early stages of firing, in the steaming areas that occur when you get rid of the moisture, is converted to an updraft kiln. So the bottom chamber has a dome with a hole in the centre, and the flue gases come from the combustion chambers and go through the kiln and up through this hole and straight out through the chimney. When the steaming period is completed, in the top chamber is also an opening or door, or wicket as it's called, and there's a loose boot left under the bottom of the door, and a bit of a steel bar. A ceramic slab is slid across the bottom opening, and thereon it's converted to a downdraft kiln. Hot flue gases go up to the dome, down through the rear, through flues in the floor, up tunnels in the wall, and comes out of the top chamber and then exits the atmosphere.
And what's it fired by? What's it fired?
Well, originally it was coal fire. We first started, a bit later on we converted it to oil fire.
Originally it was
They
coal.
finally abandoned
It must have been very hot to work around it, wasn't it?
Well, the walls are about a metre thick.
What, inside the chimney?
Not in the chimney, the general
base.
wall of the kiln,
Yeah.
the operating area. Naturally, it would be hot around the firebox and so on, etc. But nowadays, it was reasoned that if you couldn't feel the heat on the outside, you were conserving the heat on the inside. But we didn't realise that every brigger absorbed so much heat. And when we converted it to oil, we had the Shell Company engineers went on the economy survey for the duration of one firing period. And the result was that 75% of the fuel that we used went in to heat up the kiln. Because the absorption of heat into the brickwork. Nowadays, you build a kiln out of steel, and then you put an insulation lining on the inside of it, and you lose very little heat. So absorbed into the wear. That is another type of product that we're making down there. That's heat insulation material. So in the general firing of pottery ware, you have two stages of firing. One is called the biscuit firing, where the ware is fired to a lower temperature to harden it sufficiently and to increase the absorption rate for the glaze, so you can dip it in the glaze and so on and so forth. And then it goes through a second firing at a higher temperature, fuse your glaze and finally stabilise the body. So there's two firings. In this kiln, the finished product goes in the bottom, the green ware, biscuit ware goes in the top, and the first firing is done with the waste heat that's escapes from the bottom chamber, and then it comes out the top, base goes to the bottom. And that's following an old Chinese principle. Because our ceramics come from China, and that's why it's called China. They used to build their kilns on the side of the hill. They had one kiln, they had a tunnel leading to the next kiln, and so on, using the principle of heat rising. So they fire up the first kiln, waste heat from that will preheat the next one, and so on. And that's the principle that this kiln operates on. It is the only kiln of its kind standing in Australia.
Going back, Bill, just so I don't get things wrong, you were talking originally a lot about how you made crockery to start off with, competing in the Depression with the Chinese. Were you the first people in Australia to do crockery, do you think?
No.
That's right. Yeah, I wasn't sure what
I
you
think
said.
wherever there's any settlement or people, someone makes some form of
I meant manufactured in such a way, but no, I must have missed that point. Okay, so what changes, Bill, aside from your pottery, have you seen in the area? What about the main road there? That wouldn't be nothing like that, would it?
Main roads have changed dramatically, there's no question about that. Our Mine Street, where the lights are down here now, just before the underneath, if you go underneath the highway, that's the end of Mine Street. And our boundary went right down to those lights, and right along the boundary of Redbank of Mine Street. There was no other houses there at all, even on the other side. A couple on this side, a couple on the other side. And that was a dead-end street. And we had all that proper land down there. Then comes along the highway. It took, I think, a block and a half from us. We soon that from us. That was sad enough. Then comes the shopping centre over here. And they had to have an access road. So they took another 2 blocks, we assumed, from us to give us access to here and also access to the comparing us to the next door. Now, of course, there's a lot of traffic congestion, and if you try to leave our premises around about 4 o'clock, it's like Queen Street. Traffic that comes from over there and the railway and so on, etc. And Collingwood Park, which is actually part of Redbank, when they put the subdivision there, the developers changed it to Collingwood Park. Redbank actually extended right through Collingwood Park to the other side of Collingwood Park, and then Redbank Lane starts from there. There's a lot of confusion still about it. Even in this morning's paper, the Queensland Times refers to Redbank Plains as Redbank and so on, etc. You know,
which is what? No, you don't.
That's right.
So there has been quite a bit of change on this side of the road. Very little on the other side of the old Brisbane Road. And the development in Redbank Plains is absolutely phenomenal. We've seen it. It's just a city on its own, and it won't be very long before you'll drive straight from Redbank right through to Redbank.
Yes, maybe not. What was you going to say?
I'm going to say, you're forgetting, over there was the Redbank coal mine that blew up.
Oh, yes.
The coal mine.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I was at school. We run down from school and we seen the miners being brought up. They were all, the three of them were killed. We seen them put them in canaries down, you know, to see how the gas was. And canaries come up and they were alive. Well, then they'd still go on, but as soon as the gas got bad, they'd have to wait. But anyhow, they got the three of them up. But the railway line used to come from that coal mine, go across at the back of Mine Street there, and it'd go out. A gate was by the commercial hotel down here, and that used to go, the coal used to go to be loaded to go away, you know, wherever it was to go to. And it also took through to the meatworks. There was a platform where they used to unload these cattle. And if any cripples or anything was, you know, amongst them, well, the men and butchers used to have to go over and do them out of their misery, or else, you know, they put aside. But that's where the coal mine had this line coming from the coal. I used to see.
So would it cross the highway?
Yes.
Right,
Cross where the highway
right
now.
where I was born, in that shop, where the shop is now, it's a paper shop. The line was right beside that, and it'd go right across the road. And as kiddies, we'd have to stand and wait till all these trucks went past with all the coal.
So those days, coal was loaded at Redbank. The Redbank side. Then they put a weighbridge 2 stations down, so they could weigh the coal trains. That is how Wacol station got its name, Wacol.
Yes, because it used to be called something else, didn't it?
It used to be
called Wolston. That's right, and it got called Wacol.
Yes,
Because the Woolston Park, the Woolston Homestead is still just beyond it. That's the old Simpsons place, Woolston Homestead. Behind the prison.
Mavis, can you remember sort of sitting in the classroom and hearing a big bang then?
Yes.
What tell me?
Coal blew up. Everybody knew it. Mr. Carter, our teacher, he said the coal mine was blown up, you know, and everybody just, yes, everybody come running. This paddock next to us where the shopping centre is now, all the children and everybody came. There was cracks in the bottom hotel. Some lady got all her crockery broken. There was a house being moved over, you know, further now. It had everything broken, but we all were there, you know, with it. I can remember.
Many people died in?
Well, three of the Ipswich man.
We've had 7 killed in 2. That
Oh yeah, but this one I'm speaking of, there was only 3.
What year do you think that was?
Well, I'd be about now. I'd be about 8 or 9, and I was born in 1919, or that'd be 1928 or something like this. I just couldn't remember the time.
Was all the traffic, the road where the freeway is now, that would have been a road to Brisbane, wouldn't it?
That's right.
So there was mostly
horses.
Horses.
There was no road.
No, there are roads through the town.
Through the town is the same old road, love. It's the
So
same
there's
old
nothing where the freeway is, no?
No,
just
no,
paddock,
no.
that's the coal mine paddock.
So
We
all
used-
the traffic, was it horses?
Well, there was that many cars came through there that we as children could sit on the bitumen road and look into the hall when we were kiddies. The parents used to take us down and stand outside, and there'd be one car and a few hours.
We used to sit on a Sunday night.
Really? So
Yeah.
only a few cars?
Only
not
a few cars. Oh, well, I think Bill was the first one to come into Redbank that had anything that could take us up to Ipswich when we were young to go to the pictures.
So otherwise you'd have gone on horse and buggy, would you?
On the train, you could go on the train, love. but
Yeah.
but
On the train.
But there was no buses
No
like there is now, no. And sulkies,
Yeah.
is it sulkies and
That's
dog
where we
carts?
met, wasn't it?
And we even had no water laid on. And this clay hole here, there was a man in Redbank used to have a dog cart with his tank on it, and my mother and father used to buy, and all the people used to buy water from that clay hole. But only so much a
Just
tank.
right down on
How did you manage
water
with
spring.
baths and showers and things?
Well,
You
we
couldn't
had
have
tubs, not the bath you have today. And
You
to
had the
do the
clay hole
washing, you
water.
had your ordinary big tub, you know, with the handles on. And the boiler, you know, you boil your clothes out in the
an
open.
old ringer for you.
Old ringer, yes. And your tub would be washing tub, next tub would be blue water tub, and then another. Yes, yes.
Times have changed a little bit, haven't they?
Oh, yes,
Yes,
they
that
have.
was the water that they used to take out the clay hole. It was the main swimming hole.
It was
of the town.
beautiful water.
Wasn't
they-
it dirty water then?
Never.
Coming out the
It was
clay
crystal
hole?
clear.
Absolutely pure.
They've done it since they've done all this dumping up
It's
into
now-
these mines. That clay hole is not the same clay hole. It's all mucky and, you know.
Where is the clay hole now then?
Just beyond there. It's not down that far.
Can we have a look before we go?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
you can have a look at it, but it's not even worth looking at now.
Yeah,
We
but
had
it's a
goldfish
shame.
and everything in there at one time.
Crystal clear it was, that water.
It's right down the water spring. The old timers that worked in there, two of the fellas used to work in there long bit since now, told me that if the water pumps broke down over the weekend, there'd be 7 foot of water in the clay pit when they come to work on a Monday morning. So they had to continuously pump because they're right through on this underground water.
So you were all right for water to actually heal yourself
Oh,
personally?
yes,
you were
yes.
right.
So, and we used to use the water, didn't we? In
When
the
I
early
first
stage,
got
we had our own
married.
tanks, we used to pump it up from there and you'd shower and wash with it. It's that
Have you
very
always
soft
always
water.
lived here?
I was 29 when I got married, and I'm 78 this October coming, I don't need all the time. But I used to wash with that water. Bill had it stored up into a big tank, and it was absolutely beautiful.